He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of Fair Gotham. Welcome once again to Bat Minute and Robin, the show that delivers judo lessons on the side 3 days a week. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am chillin' like a villain. It's me, Niall McGowan.
I'm surprised they don't say something like that.
It is so many random puns we've come up with throughout. We're like, they missed that one, they missed this one, they missed like Eva Goldsman's like, I'm only one man, for the love of God.
As we've talked about, there's a lot of ones they cut out.
Yeah.
We'll get to some more things like that. But first, we are joined by two very special guests, returning guests. Is it a first-time team-up, Niall? It is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It is. It is indeed, yes. You're the arbiter of knowledge. I have to consult with you. You're the librarian of Bat Minute. We are joined by Johnie Powers.
Hey.
Hey. And you'll know this voice as well, everyone. Dave Pallas.
Man, they just let anyone out of the asylum these days.
I mean, yeah, if there's anybody we could be saying that about, it's you. So
There's a thing that pops up in some Batman comics where it's like, they've released the Joker from the asylum. And you're like, they released him? Like, what? How?
yeah, I'm all about rehabilitation, right? That in the real world, especially. But I think the Joker's proven he's maybe a little bit beyond rehabilitation.
I've actually got some weird notes related to that, but it'll be coming up in like minutes down, minutes later this week. So,
well, the minute we are talking about today is minute 55, and the minute starts with Barbara attempting to explain herself, and it ends with Hannibal on ice, which is a show I need to see.
Oh.
Is it Hannibal Buress and he's just like on ice?
Oh, I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Man, this ice is cold.
Hannibal Buress playing Hannibal Lecter on ice. There you go. Bam.
Oh.
I can just imagine, though, it's just like a dinner table on ice skates, just sliding around the rink, and it's him sitting, everyone's trying to eat in ominous tones. It's bumping into the sides and stuff.
This needs to happen. We don't need Hannibal season 4. We need Hannibal on ice.
Let's say if you say to Brian Fuller, he seems the type who would be like, oh yeah, that's actually, yeah, great. Yeah, I'll do that instead.
Why not?
And then we find out like Mads Mikkelsen can like do the entire thing drunk on ice skates and a triple axel.
I think he is he's a qualified dancer. I think he was a dancer.
He is, so I could imagine him skating.
I think that's why he looks so good when he's fighting. It's just like, oh yeah, he knows how to contort his body in ways that are like, pleasing to the camera and stuff.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
that's a Renaissance man.
All you needed to say now was that's why he looks so good.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was
It looks so good.
That was a given. But
Yeah.
should say though before we get into this minute though, because I thought I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it last week. I feel I should bring it up now because I thought it was appropriate enough to warrant a mention. But in the previous week we had the big blowout between Dick and Bruce in the Batcave. And I was like, this is no partnership, and he storms off. And apparently, according to an article, when this movie came out, that was the last scene filmed. So technically, that's the last scene filmed for the original 4 Batman movies. It's almost weirdly appropriate, seeing as the movie Batman and Robin broke the franchise. Robin going, this is no partnership, and storming away, being the note that they ended on, seems weirdly kind of like apt in a way.
It does. Yeah. I don't know if I like it, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's so strange, that article too, because they're like so confident that they're going to get doing Batman 5. They're just like,
would be. Why would you think otherwise?
Yeah, it's one of those things like back in the promo material. It's all like, it's going great. We're definitely going to get a 5th one. And now people in retrospective interviews are saying like, yeah, Warner Brothers knew there was a problem, and they were kind of like, this is probably going to be the last one, and things like that. And apparently Clooney was on set going, we've killed the franchise. This is a disaster. But I don't know if they're saying that now with the power of hindsight, or
yeah, it's like The Room, the way Tommy Wiseau's like, yeah, it's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Or it could have been back in 97. They're just like, this is trash, but let's see if we can wing it. And maybe people will like it anyway.
Well, I did. So there you go. And so we are back with Barbara explaining herself. A few judo lessons here and there. No biggie. But of course, this won't fly with Dick. He's been trained.
Yeah.
And he now knows that she has been too.
It's like, London's kind of rough, which...
Well, no, right, I have a question about this for our Americans here. When she says, she did those lessons because London's kind of rough, is that supposed to be funny to you? Is that supposed to be a joke? Like, because you think London is, like, fancy? Because it's not. It is kind of rough.
I don't know. For me, it's more of, like, normal because she's a lady. She's going around by herself a lot.
Yeah.
With or without being Batgirl. Some self-defense would help.
And it definitely would. In London scares the crap out of me. Like it's quite a rough place, most of it.
Yeah, I know, Johnny. When you were first on the show, I remember you were like I think you were getting prepped to come to Manchester.
Yeah.
So I remember it coming up. So I don't know. You've been on the rough streets of Manchester by yourself.
Dude,
would you be like?
Manchester, I would still like self-defense, like maybe not judo, I don't know, but I would do like a self-defense class or like 5. But I didn't feel weird in Manchester, so.
Yeah.
I think judo's a good choice because, judo has a strong emphasis on throws. So I think that's a good way of getting someone off you and creating space, because they might grab you, you can throw them.
That's fair.
And get away. So I think that's actually one of the best ones to do. I think you should learn judo in school. There you go.
I was looking into, before I left Orlando, I was looking into a Krav Maga gym.
Oh, that's intense. Yeah.
That's Christian Bale's training for Batman was Krav Maga. So I guess it's kind of weirdly appropriate.
That would be a good one for Batman to learn, I think. It's very full on. It's very intense. It's extreme.
I was just kind of curious, though, because weirdly enough, I actually had one of my exes was an American girl who lived in London way back. We only went out very briefly. But, like, she did outright experience, like, anti-American sentiment.
Whoa, really?
Everywhere she went. I went down to visit her. And, like, you can see, like, when she had asked for, like, a bus ticket and stuff, the people would sneer at her and things like that. It was just hearing the accent. I think it is a kind of, like, these Yanks coming over here. These bloody Yanks coming over here. And
I can see that being a thing, unfortunately, because we're horrible.
I mean, so are we.
I didn't want to speak for you.
I think things are bad everywhere, really. If you look into it, it's like, everyone's racist or prejudiced against somebody else from somewhere doing whatever. Although, in these moments, in both the novelization and the script, it becomes very apparent that Barbara Wilson, as she's called, is supposed to be English, the character as written, because it says in the novelization she like responds very primly and properly, and everything she says is like, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry, 1,000 apologies," and all this.
But right, that is exactly how an American thinks English people speak. So it's her pretending, I learned this in England.
Yeah. I think it's like she's doing an impression of Alfred. Because when Dick looks at the leather jacket, he's like, what's happening here? And she's like, it's for a costume party. One never knows how leather will wear.
Nobody speaks like that except for Alfred.
It's like, and the more I'm looking into it, though, as well, it's like, I'm thinking there must have been last minute attempts to retcon when they got Alicia Silverstone. Sorry, I've got to get used to saying it properly. Because I think we joked in previous weeks, like, maybe she was supposed to be English and then Alicia couldn't do the accent, so they changed it from being Alfred's friend's daughter, who she might be his daughter as well, to it's literally his niece.
Which is a much better change, I actually think.
But
as we've brought up before, that other setup is creepy and weird.
Yes, very strange, very strange. But actually looking in then to Alicia Silverstone, knowing that she was hired without being auditioned, just off the strength of Clueless, I'm thinking they thought she could do the English accent because she comes from like crazy British roots, where she's born in San Francisco, born and raised there, but her mother is Deirdre Dee Silverstone, who's Scottish, and her dad is Monty Silverstone, who's very English. English real estate guy. So I'm thinking they probably wrote this part thinking her parents are British. No way in hell she couldn't be able to do the accent. And then they got her and they're like, oh crap.
I love that logic because you're probably right, but it doesn't make sense. I can't impersonate my parent. I can't do their accent. There's no way I could pull it off.
So either of you guys, can you pull off an English accent, Dave or Johnny? You got one up your... Dave, you're an actor, man. You gotta have one up your sleeve.
Putting him on the spot.
Oh, sorry, Mommy, I'm English. I didn't mean it. Oh, sorry.
Oh my god.
I've heard worse.
This is so stupid. So we in high school used to do it all the time, and my senior physics class, we had like 8 kids in there, and that was the entire class. We even got our teacher to do it. So anytime we had class, we all slipped into like British accents.
Was there a reason for it? Or?
No, absolutely not. It was just for fun because we all hated physics.
I thought you were going to say we all hated the British. So.
No.
Well, that's a given.
No, we all just did it. So I do it accidentally like all the time without noticing just because I did it so much. It's not good, but I do it, I guess.
It doesn't have to be good. I always go into a random New York accent if I'm speaking about coffee because you have to, of course. Yeah. And it's terrible, but it's great.
I suppose it might be handy enough for you, Johnny, if you're doing a show about Austin Powers, if you can slip into the accent for reciting the lines back to people. So.
Sometimes I've tried, but I don't know. Like, it just happens organically that I do it. I slip into it. I don't know. It's weird. It's stupid. I
know he's got English roots, but I am still impressed with Mike Myers' accent. He's pretty good at it.
I think
it's not like it is kind of stereotypical, but not in a bad way. Like I feel like that character would sound like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like his Scottish accent too. Like whoa.
He's insanely proud of that Scottish accent though. He seems to keep working
it's in every movie. It's in
that's like 40% of Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
It's as if he I want to play this guy just so I can do the Scottish accent. And they're like, okay, Mike. And then all of a sudden, I'm creating a character for Austin Powers who's specifically Scottish.
And then Shrek's basically the same.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh God, Shrek. Yeah, that's his brain.
He loves it. He loves it.
I love when you English say I went to hospital or I went to university. I don't know why. I find it so funny. Like the sentence doesn't sound like it's over, but then you ended the sentence. I went to university.
How would you end it? What?
No, this guy, he went over to college, like he just got back from college,
here.
Like even it's, like I said, let's say he went to like Harvard University. We would say, this guy went to Harvard. I don't know why I'm doing an accent. Like I'm from, like now I'm in an Affleck production. I'm in a Casey
you're now
Affleck
from
production
Boston.
now.
You're welcome.
This guy's from Harvard. I did enough accent. You had to bleep me on that one.
We'll have to ask though, what do people here think of Alicia in this role? Like, I don't know if either of you two have any distinct connection with Barbara Gordon or Barbara Wilson, sorry, or just Batgirl in general, where you would have any investment in this character. But she is one of the people who gets some of the most flack for this movie. Is Alicia for this performance?
I mean, as a growing young boy, like her and Uma definitely like contributed to my like, oh, women could be really attractive, as like as a young guy. I was 97, so how old am I? I'm like just 9, 10, barely figuring it all that
That's
out.
the perfect time for that kind of first crush that you don't really get.
You're like, you're like that. I'm like sitting there like going that and that Pink Ranger Kimberly.
Yeah.
There's something about it. I can't figure out why I'm interested. See you in the theater like,
Yeah. It's nice to hear you say that though, because as we've brought up on the show before, she got insulted for her looks in this film.
I don't get that. For the life of me, don't get that. She looks great as in the final scene as Batgirl. It looks great. She and that's the one downside. Like by the end of the film, you're like, oh, I think we finally like. I think this could work as another movie. And you're like, oh wait, it doesn't. Like, and because like I feel like all they had to do is pull back like maybe 10 ounces of camp. Just pull back pull back on 10 ounces of camp, and I think you could have had yourself a fine sequel. If we just reel it back.
That's the title of the episode right there. 10 ounces of camp.
Just pull it out, just a little bit, and I think you could have had another sequel with the three of them as our lead. Actually, no, drop Clooney, because he didn't seem like he was interested in the slightest. Or have him play the Bruce Wayne parts and then just get a different actor to play the Batman part. Because you're absolutely right. I watch it. He doesn't drop his voice. He doesn't act any different. He does all this. He does so much freaking head bob work in this movie. I never seen someone head bob as Batman so much in this. He does, because like when he's playing George Clooney, he's like, we gotta rob a casino. He does his head bob and he looks so attractive doing it. But when he's in a Batman, he looks bad doing it. He doesn't look. It makes you look like, why is your head? Because it makes the whole head wobble.
Yeah.
It's, that whole we call it not the mantle. We call the cowl.
Yeah.
Just doesn't look good when he does a Clooney head bob.
I agree. Totally. It doesn't work for me. Johnny, what do you think then of Alicia? It's hard to say that now.
Alicia Silverstone.
I guess like I don't have any problems with her doing it, but I can see like why, because it's on the back of Clueless, like it's a completely different vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not ready for a shift, if you go into it, so say like she attracted the lady audience of like, oh my gosh, she's going to be in a new movie. I don't know what it is, but I want to go see it because I loved her in Clueless. And you go see Batman and Robin. You're like,
that'll be shocking.
Wait a minute. This is not remotely anything that you would think that she would do. So I can see why people like criticize her. I love her. I also just love Batgirl because I love the ladies of the DC universe. So like Birds of Prey and
that's a good point, actually. I think
stuff.
DC they should emphasize the female characters more, because I actually think they've got one up on Marvel in that respect.
Oh yeah.
They've got a big depth of the bench ready for them if they ever wanted to use the ladies.
And put me on record. I want a better Talia al Ghul story. We don't. I still don't think we've nailed her on the in the shows and the movies yet.
I mean,
because like Maya Collier didn't really. She was Italian for like all of a minute in the truck, and then she's driving a truck. And then the comics, they just kind of play her as like a warlord, so there's really nothing to that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
dull.
It's weird in Dark Knight Rises because like I remember like friend of the show Gaz Flint saying like, yeah, we don't know anything about Talia al Ghul, and it's like, we do, but it's all the things you thought you knew about Bane.
Yeah.
That was her story the whole time. So all that
Copy, paste.
Yeah, it's just basically go in and go like, okay, take out the name Bane, put Talia in all the backstory stuff.
The replace function in Word.
Yeah, and
that's a control F replace.
but then to be fair, that is not an accurate depiction, because Bane's origin in Dark Knight Rises is kind of fairly accurate. So it is like, yeah, we haven't seen comics accurate Talia coming out or anything, you haven't seen her actual relationship with Bruce Wayne conveyed. Although to be fair, we're getting on screen here the beginnings of the classic Dick and Barbara relationship, but we've still never really seen them on screen as Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, Nightwing, Batgirl. That like this is our one sort of ember of it, this movie, and it's kind of crazy because it's such a big thing in the comics that it's never been tapped for cinematic use again.
I wonder if like Titans will ever get there, because you have to start with his and Corey's relationship, because Dick got around. So
like an ass like that, of course he did.
Of course. And he's my favorite Robin, so I was
really assuming you're going to say he's my favorite ass as well.
Also yes, but America's ass rivals, it's fine.
We need a butt off.
But he like dated Starfire or Princess Coriander. He dated Donna Troy as well. And he also obviously wound up with Babs or Barbara, but maybe we'll see it in Titans, because we've already established that they had something, spoilers for Titans, with Donna Troy. And then he's currently like seeing Corey in the show. So we'll see if Babs shows up at some point.
Oh, I could totally see that happening. And if it doesn't, you're cowards. Get it
Right?
on your show.
Although, weirdly, there's a couple of decent parallels between Chris O'Donnell and Alicia Silverstone in their own right, what kind of makes them a natural, like, oh, these two could play those parts. Because, like, her first acting gig ever was in a Domino's pizza commercial back when she was, like, really, really young. Annoyingly, I can't find it. You'd think it'd be one of those things that YouTube would be made for that kind of thing. But no, it brings up some adverts from 1986. So like, I don't think this is the one though. But of course, as we mentioned last year, Chris O'Donnell's first acting gig was in a McDonald's advert, where it was him and Michael Jordan facing off. Oh, well, say facing off. He serves Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that sounds. He made it sound like they played basketball.
When you say served, is it like the food, or he like tossed him the rock? It's like...
No, he served him the. Well, he excitedly went as Michael Jordan came in, and then they have a whole thing where it's like, Jordan scrambles, and it's Michael Jordan eating scrambled eggs and stuff like that. But and then Alicia started modeling at age 6. Which is, I know they need kids for like, magazine or for catalogs and stuff like that. But anytime I hear about a child model, I'm always a bit like, oh, that seems strange to me.
Yeah, I think it's the use of the word model, which maybe it's something wrong with us, because it is technically right. But when I hear someone's a model, I think of a very specific thing,
Yeah. But Chris O'Donnell also began modeling at age 13.
Oh, he's totally a male model. Look at him.
I can't remember if you. I don't think you had it. Did you have O'Donnell minutes last time, Johnny? I think you were getting near like it was the bat butt and stuff like that. I think Robin had gone, quote unquote, at that point. Did you have to throw down any thoughts about Chris O'Donnell? Because I remember we were going through verification with everybody about whether he was hot or not. Because I couldn't believe it.
I don't think I did, but I think he's hot. Like, yes, absolutely. But I'm. As many people, if you listen to me on other things, I talk about eyes and eyebrows all the time on podcasts. I don't know why it's a thing now, but he has great eyes and eyebrows, and that's what draws me in.
So, I can see that. Yeah.
Yes, he is. He's hot. I like him.
He's of the time hot as well, like peak 90s guy, right? Anyway, back in the minute, and it does tie into Dick. I don't like his tone when he's speaking to her after what she says, because
I don't appreciate your tone, sir.
I do not appreciate his tone. He goes, "I suppose you had a minor in motorbikes, also, huh?" It's like, what of it? Why are you so annoyed that she likes bikes? Like, chill, man. It's not like she lied to you or anything. She just didn't mention it.
It's down to her flipping him onto his back. Like sneaking around the house and be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, oh my God. And then and plus we know how, arrogant and sort of big-headed Dick is and how sensitive he is to criticism. And he is already mid-strop with Bruce because he's like, you don't trust me. And so I think he's just, emotions are running high here. So
That's true.
I'll forgive him his tone, personally.
They are running high. And she did... I'll defend him on one thing. She did steal the bike. Like, I know she's brought it back, but it's not hers. Imagine somebody just taking your car out for a ride while you're asleep, It's insane. But...
Oh, yeah, you have to keep it in the context where it's like, he just had, like, an argument with Bruce, and then he's like, what are people doing behind my back? I think that's the vibe he's got, where he's like, he just can't win tonight.
It's true, and I get it. But he seems to really laser focus on, how come you ride bikes? It's like, no, that's the wrong thing to be picking on.
I'm liking the idea though that he was just like, if I'm on a losing streak tonight, if I can just beat up this this girl coming in with the bike, if I can get one up on her, then I'll feel like it's a win. And he even like, no, she got me flat my ass.
Maybe it's the lingering Ivy pheromones. They just got him like worked up. Yeah. So every emotion is like dialed to a 10, though it doesn't need to be. He's just sexually frustrated right now. Yeah. And he can't figure out why. He's got these pheromones still like in his nasal passages.
And because he's clearly written as like a 16-year-old.
Yes.
Still.
He's got a lot of angst.
Yeah. So, I don't like his tone, but I don't think he's being too bad. I think just chill, man. Relax.
I do think a cooler head, he would say motorbiking, but in like motorbiking. Like, we have a little bond here, you know?
Yeah, surely, if anything, when he thinks about it later, he's going to be like even more into her because he's already made it clear he's into her.
Yeah.
And now he's like, oh my God, she likes bikes.
Within that mind, though, I should also mention that although it's not an accurate rendition of Batgirl or Barbara Gordon or things like that, there is an element of this story that seems like it is taken directly from a comic in Batman's run, one that actually featured Wilfred Pennyworth. So I'm wondering if this is where a lot of the stuff with her gestated in Batman 216, the story Angel ... or Devil by Frank Robbins. It begins with Batman trying to save a girl in an alleyway from Wilfred Pennyworth's old acting troupe. It's bizarre. Ye Olde Avon Players. And then she turns on Batman, knocks him out, and then later on, as he's driving back, he spots her hitchhiking, and he's like, oh, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to Wayne Manor. So he's like, I'll drop you off. I'm not going there myself, you understand, but I'll drop you at the gate. And so when she goes to Wayne Manor, it turns out this is Alfred's niece, Daphne Pennyworth.
Oh.
Also noted that this is the first issue to call Alfred Pennyworth. He was previously Alfred Beagle, as I believe we mentioned, various points throughout the show. But it turns out then, she's sneaking around the house, up to this, that, and the other. Dick is immediately smitten with her. Because she is same age as him, blonde hair as well, much like Alicia, and kind of just as she's drawn, just kind of looks like Alicia Silverstone. It turns out then, Dick at one point trying to show off, he brings her to the Wayne archives, and they've got an original manuscript of Romeo and Juliet, allegedly handwritten by Shakespeare himself.
Come on.
Yeah. But also, it turns out, she's actually in a production of the Romeo and Juliet that's happening at the same time. And she's like, you should all come out to it. And the thing is, it turns out it's all a ploy. Because what she secretly does when they're out of the house is sneak back in to Wayne Manor in between acts. So God knows how long a break they take. It must be like 3 hours in between acts. She goes back in, tries to steal the manuscript. Alfred's still there. Don't know why he didn't come out to friggin' watch his niece. She then accidentally shoots him, but it turns out later the gun's a blank. It's full of blanks. And then when they come back, Batman's in the middle of all this. He's put the cowl on, and it turns out that Wilfred Pennyworth and Daphne are been held hostage until they can figure out a way to get this manuscript, so the kidnappers can then sell it off and all this kind of stuff. And that's why that she was having a fight with this acting troupe. It's not the best written of comics.
I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie. I am absolutely.
It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah. And at the end, then she's pushed out on stage, and they think that the knife she's going to use to the prop knife for Juliet to kill herself, it's a real knife.
Oh, because we haven't seen that done before. Okay.
Yeah,
they even do that in Blackadder.
But it's crazy, and it's basically that's the featured comic with Wilfred Pennyworth and Daphne Pennyworth, Alfred's actual niece, and all this stuff about Romeo and Juliet. I guess it's kind of apt because Alicia Silverstone was in Love's Labour's Lost, Kenneth Branagh's production of the Shakespeare thing, so everything's connected.
I saw one per episode. Contractually, have to get one in.
Yeah. But I did wonder, though, if there is just a little element of like, well, they did go back to the comics for some stuff. I wonder if they're like, we'll sort of mine this. People who are into deep Batman lore might think, oh, Alfred's niece, like Daphne Pennyworth from that one issue back in the 70s.
Do you... All right, how about this? Here's my headcanon. Do you think that Alfred gave while she was over there in England, got her interested in judo because of all, like, the Batman trainings? Like, you know what? My niece would, like, it wouldn't hurt her to learn some, like, self-defense techniques because, like, between Master Bruce, Master Dick, like, I've seen there could be some, just not even dropping any Batgirl hints, literally just being like, maybe she should have some too.
Yeah, he sees how it's helped, maybe it's helped Dick in his life and moving on. It's like, well, maybe you could do the same thing.
Yeah.
I guess again, the Lord of the Manor does literally spend his time having to save people on the dark city streets. So it's just like, well, she's going to a city, and London is kind of rough. So yeah, it makes 100% sense that, and she does specify that Alfred has supported her this whole time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did put like a little note going, "This is the money for judo lessons, okay? For the love of God, protect yourself."
How about this? What if also he was the one who gave her the interest in like knowing her hand, make sure she has good hands for machines and stuff, so she knew how to put things
So
together
secretly,
and stuff.
he's been planning her to join as Batgirl all along. He's the mastermind.
It's like one half of me is like, wouldn't that be cool? The other half is like, wouldn't it be good just like for her to know that because he's like. She has the time and the funds that he has probably from the Waynes that he's like, put this money to good use. Make sure that you're safe and you're crafty, and you're not just going to be a playgirl walking around England.
Yeah.
Like you actually have your wits
I like
about
that.
you.
I really like that. And actually tying into the machine talk, right? Her response to him about the bike is when she goes, I couldn't resist. I mean, it's just so beautiful. But the draft has a much more explicit line. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've just never seen anything like it. So massive."
Oh, boy.
Now, I actually like this, right? Because to me, it shows that she's aware. She knows exactly what she's doing. She can tell that Dick is into her. So she's using that to get out of this situation with a little, subtle but not subtle flirt. Like, I'm gonna play him.
Imagine her saying, "It's so massive," and him and like, "Yeah, it's mine."
Yeah.
It's a Harley compatible.
I love that. I actually think they maybe should have kept that in because it sounds cheesy on paper, but then when you think about it, you're like, oh no, she's clever. She, play this fool.
I kind of do wonder if like, I can't remember if we said this the last time, but if they were to have her as being English, if she would like switch accents and stuff, where she would go like, "Oh, one never knows how leather will wear," and it might have been like she was like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, oh, they're London,
Dead rough.
oh, excuse me," because
She just starts like Harry Winstone.
Because the thing is, it's one of the more subtle things in the movie where she showed up in the schoolgirl uniform. I think up until we recorded those minutes, I never thought, like, why is she showing up in a schoolgirl uniform? Who does that?
Well,
That's
she's
crazy.
coming from school.
Yeah, but she would have had to travel all the way over from England.
You gotta hop right on the plane,
But and then think it's supposed to be a heavy contrast. It's like pristine, prim, and proper schoolgirl, dirty biker gear and stuff. And I think it's a bit too subtle because I think that they almost needed more of the contrast to be like, oh yeah, she's like wearing completely different kind of. This doesn't come across like the same person. Whereas one of them in the movie, it's just like it comes across like it's Alicia Silverstone in one uniform, and now she's in a leather jacket.
Yeah,
that's the only difference.
What they could have done is when she's being prim and proper, she's got like a wig on. That hair's a wig, and then when she's going out being like a badass, she whips the wig off, and she's got like a mohawk.
Or the opposite round, you could do it like Batgirl in the 60s show, where Barbara Gordon had black hair, but when she donned the Batgirl outfit, she had red hair. And have that in here, and that's why later on in the movie, Batgirl has red hair, because she was already using it as a disguise when she was going out to do those bike races and stuff.
We've improved this movie once again, because we're geniuses.
It's right there. It was right there for you, Joel. It was right there for you.
She does a cute little runaway, and then we cut to Arkham Asylum. We're back, baby. I love the lighting and the lightning. On the sign. It's very universal, very Hammer horror, cheesy in the right ways, I felt.
Yeah. I think we did say it in the brief moments we had of Arkham last movie. Joel Schumacher, if he did one thing completely correct, it was Arkham Asylum. Like, it's such a fantastic model of the building. It's so gothic and horrible and nightmarish. It
looks
fantastic.
like Angmar in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's full blown. Like, this could be, like, if you told me this was Peter Jackson was going to use this for Minas Morgul, I'll be like, yep. Yeah, totally. I can imagine it.
But now I want the Witch King to be a Batman villain.
Yeah. That also had all the friggin' eerie green glow. Could be Peter Jackson sitting back on, no one noticed that I just totally ripped that from frickin' Batman.
Turns out it's the same shot. He didn't even reshoot it. He just used that.
Like, into though, always raining at Arkham.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, it could be the height of any time of year, any season, it'll be bucketing down as if it just has its own friggin' atmosphere around it. It's so cursed. It just has a dark cloud hanging over it.
That's what it is, a dark cloud hanging over it. You've hit the nail on the head. And I have a problem, right? I agree with you. It looks incredible. It looks amazing. But
it looks, and honestly, God, I had to do the side-by-side comparison. It's so close to looking as well the Champion City Asylum.
Oh.
The only difference is, obviously, Arkham is a Gothic spire, like, aesthetic at the edge, like Gargoyles and stuff, whereas Champion City is very squared off industrial. Like, everything's just a very flat square.
But the base, sort of the building is the same.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to post that in the group, like a side-by-side shot.
One thing, though, is with the I know, as we classically know, John, they're technically called grotesques. The things
grotesques.
at the side.
Going back to
but
season
for people
1.
who are wondering, who don't remember, the gargoyles that are on the, quote unquote gargoyles that are strewn throughout. It's crazy that this comes so ahead of the Arkham Asylum game, because it looks like they were designed for that game. Like, in the game, you're like, why are they letting their necks so long and stuff? It's because Batman has to be able to fit on them, because you're going to be hiding on them every other second. But here it's just like, this looks like this was designed for that game. Like, it's so... I wouldn't be surprised if in the game they were like, oh yeah, we stole so much from the Schumacher aesthetic because it perfectly lent itself to what we were going for.
It's a great aesthetic. Like, steal away. But it being a great aesthetic does lead to my problem. This is the worst building for a mental health hospital. It's cold, it's dark, it's stony. No. You need air, you need light, you need open, like, green spaces, you need rehabilitation facilities, you need activities.
They got plenty of
green lightning. Green lightning. You need activities to occupy people's days, their minds. I work in mental health. They don't look like this, the hospitals.
But that's the gag. It's not a mental health facility.
It's really
a prison.
not, is it?
It's a prison.
Yeah, but even, like, I work on the site of... It's called a mental health hospital, but it's a prison. It's for people who, like, murderers and things like that. It doesn't look like this. Let me tell you. It really
seems like
does
this
not
is
look
an
like
asylum from, like, the 1600s.
Yeah.
Before they're like, well, maybe people could, if they're not mentally all together, they might hurt themselves in this building. It seems like it's just nothing but deep drops and stone walls.
It's also like they had to build, like, really hyper-specific rooms for people because we have to keep somebody alive in really cold temperatures. We have to keep somebody from using vines to escape. Like, there's so many, like, weird niche specific, like, okay, this is this guy's room. This is only this guy's room. Okay, this is this person's room. And they're like, well, we blew the budget on specific rooms. Like, we're just going to have to look really creepy on the outside. Like, it's fine.
Well, I was going to say, like, it upsets me then that, Bruce Wayne funds this place. But you've just kind of there confirmed for me that he definitely does. In this version of Batman Fund It, because who else could pay for all of those rooms?
Right. And, well, in the originally, his mom was the one doing it.
Yeah, true.
Was funding it. So it was always like a Wayne family thing.
So the Waynes are screwed up. They don't believe people can change, Dave.
Bruce Wayne used to be a piece of shit back when he was like 9.
They don't believe people can change. That's terrible. That's awful. Shut down the asylum. Somebody needs to sue Wayne Enterprises. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be now that hashtag defund Arkham.
Yeah,
and it's just like, just let all the criminals out. Like, that's never gonna have any problem.
Don't yet, please, God, don't.
I'm pretty sure that is a comic book story, though, isn't it? At one point, they've shut the asylum down multiple times.
Like I know Bane, he literally destroyed it, so all the criminals just got out at the same time.
That was his whole approach, was just let everybody sort of run wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's in White Knight too. Yeah, there's like Jack Napier's one of his big campaigns is like, get all those people out of Arkham and stuff.
Because it's terrible for them. It's not helping them, and it's definitely not helping them because they keep on offending.
Well, although we'll say though, one thing Arkham desperately needs, they do have all these things of like, we got a room specifically designed for Mr. Freeze. Are the cleaners on strike? Like, Because you look at
cobwebs.
Yeah, the cobwebs coming from that ceiling are crazy. Like, why isn't anybody, at least one guard at one point be like, screw it, I'm going to clean this place myself because I can't stand working it. I have to work here. I don't want to have it looks like that's such a long web on the roof. It's like Shelob might as well be there. Like, it's
that more proof that it is Angmar.
Yeah,
because Shelob is just around the corner from Angmar, isn't she?
And we'll say though, this is one shot that could encapsulate all of Batman and Robin, essentially.
Oh yeah,
Arnie in this fridge.
Oh, this fridge freezer thing, right? That also in a way ties into what you're saying about the budget problems and the cleaners being on strike, right? The fact that they are transporting him in what appears to be a literal fridge freezer, like you'd buy in the shops.
It's Gotham Electro Deluxe, apparently. Yeah.
It's not a custom-made thing. It's like, just put him in the fridge.
Although, at the same time, it kind of makes sense, because it's like, well, we've never had to deal with this before.
I suppose,
so
yeah.
What can we put him in?
I was watching this last night, and I could not get out of my brain the fact that he's being brought in a fridge, and the brand Frigidaire, their people look like, I think it's them, that they are dressed to look kind of like official like cops or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, did you just get like Frigidaire reps to like wheel him in? This is not even like the security people. They're just the fridge people.
Like you're getting a new fridge delivered by the company. It's like they turn up with it and install it.
Like, here, let's help. What do you need refrigerated? Oh, it's a person?
It's a man. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh wow, you're right. The Frigidaire and like Maytag guys, yeah, they look exactly the same as cops.
That's so weird. Crap. Yeah, I've never thought about it.
That is bizarre.
Wow.
It wouldn't surprise me if Schumacher approached them and was like, "Do you want a bit of product placement?" And they were like, "Nah." And he's like, "We already made the uniforms." It's like, "Oh, just swap out the labels." And then like, "Oh, no one need ever know." Now it's Gotham Deluxo Electric or whatever.
Yeah, we've uncovered the truth. That's what we are here, truth seekers.
Got to say, in terms of fridges, for me, it's Smeg or it's nothing.
Oh, right. Great company.
You got expensive tastes.
That's the problem, right? Smeg, despite the hilarious name, they're beautifully designed. They're lovely. They're gorgeous. I want one, but I can't afford one.
Yeah. I say I don't have a Smeg. I just now live in misery, thinking like, God damn it, someday. One of the things I aspire to is like a bar inside one of those globes where you
I want that.
A sepia toned giant globe where it turns out there's a bar inside, and a cool 50s Smeg fridge.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm.
These awesome.
These are the things I'm aspiring to here.
Well, I'm almost about to achieve one of my goals. Hopefully, is because the new house I'm buying. She said she's going to leave the fridge for me if I want it, and I said yes, please do, because it's a big, massive American fridge with the ice thing in it. And
on the door or just on the inside?
Oh, on the door.
Nice.
And because in England, people never use ice. It's like a running gag. Like whenever I go to drag shows, drag queens always make fun of it. It's always a joke on stage, like making fun of the fact we don't put ice in drinks. And we don't. But I want that ice, God damn it.
You're gonna have such a good time with a cold glass of water. You're gonna be like, wow, this water's so cold, so crisp.
I know a guy who recently moved into a house, and he showed me a big new fancy fridge he's got, and it had a little thing. It's like, oh, it's a little ice machine, and he's like, no, it's just for water. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, it just serves cold water. I'm like,
I mean, that's pretty cool, but
I mean, that's okay, but it's like the sink's right there. You just leave it for a second. Why didn't you get one with an ice machine in it?
Maybe it filters it.
I'm assuming, yeah, it might be like a Brita.
Oh, but then you've got to change the filter. That's annoying.
I think I was more excited about it than he was. I think he was like, I didn't question it. Like, it was just the thing that was here when I got here. What do you want from me? But,
I mean, if only the house I was buying came with a fridge that had a man inside, you know.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're like Last Action Hero, him coming in just like having to shoot the closet and stuff. It's like, oh, there's always a guy in there.
I don't.
Oh, I would.
I like the idea of the fridge. It has the viewing screen, so like John and the man in the fridge are always making eye contact as John opens up. Like, could you please move? I'm trying to get to the.
He could pass me.
I'm trying to get to the mayonnaise. I mean, I know you don't eat mayonnaise, John. Just
I do.
Okay, I thought you were like, I don't know if you're like a Ready Whip or a Cool Whip. Or
Oh,
like
so we don't have that.
We
don't have that here. We just got the mayonnaise.
I didn't know if vegan mayonnaise was your thing. I didn't know.
Yeah, I actually have at the moment, on my sandwiches, I'm actually only a vegetarian, but I do mostly eat vegan. So it is a vegan mayonnaise with garlic. And it's beautiful and it's lovely. But when I come back from lunch at work and I've got to put that mask back on, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be having so much garlic mayo.
You
just have to learn to appreciate the smell of garlic. Like, it's like, hey, just learn to live with it.
I love the smell of garlic, but not so much when it's like recycling it around my face.
It's your own breath, man. Like, it's like, hey, if it's mean. But we'll say, though, I just remembered, like, there's no way. Was it a reference? Remember in Joker, Joaquin Phoenix at one point tears out all the shelves in his fridge and sits inside. Was Todd Phillips doing a low-key, it's a Batman and Robin callback?
Of course. the movie that inspired that the most, clearly.
Yeah.
Just Joaquin sitting there, you wouldn't get it.
So it did have the little nod, like, remember Bruce Wayne coming down the little bat pole thing? He's like, hey, I'm doing that. So it's like, maybe he was going for Batman and Robin with it.
Well, as we've discovered, all of these Batman movies rip this one off. Christopher Nolan rips this one off left, right, and center.
Chris Nolan is just like, every movie, we're just like, he stole so much from these other films. And people acted as if he was the friggin' bee's knees who was saving the franchise and stuff. But oh yeah, so beautiful shot of Freeze being hauled in here. I kind of like to think too that there's a secret resentment amongst the guards because like this was their designated like beer fridge in the break room.
They've taken it off them. We're gonna need that, guys.
The guy's gonna ruin it.
Oh, I love it. But where are they taking him? Oh, you'll have to tune in to find out. Yeah.
The only other notes I have were I just had a personal head canon thing of it because it got green lightning. It's a grease of lightning, but or green
I just keep
lightning.
Whenever you say green lightning, I hear it as grease lightning.
But apparently that is a thing. I looked it up as apparently with inside clouds, the lightning would be green because of the way, appropriate enough, the way the ice particles within, like react to the air and the electricity and stuff. But like it says, it very, very rarely would you see it outside. Apparently there is a photo someone took near a volcano with green lightning. But so you could be like, it's a sign Mr. Freeze is there because of the ice particles and stuff. Or my personal headcanon is like, it's more box, consequences from last season. It's like all those green, brainwaves going through the air, in the atmosphere. Friggin' Riddler was shooting a giant green question mark into the sky at one point. There's got to be consequences. So I'm assuming this has still got something to do with him, where it's just like, yeah, now the lightning's green. What are they gonna do? Like, there's still brainwaves floating up in the clouds for some reason.
I love it. That would be cool. I think that just a reference. There you go.
Yeah,
love it. But
I mean, like, I don't know if anyone else have anything else for minutes 55.
Noted out here.
No, I'm excited to see Freeze's new digs.
Hell yeah!
It actually gets in there. It's like, oh, it's really lovely in here. Actually, oh man, you got a pool table and everything. Wow!
Yeah, but you've given me my own cold beam. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
This is better than my house.
We'll get to his digs in due course. But would our wonderful guests like to tell people where they can be found online or promote any of their work, Johnie?
You can find me pretty much anywhere at Austin Powers Minute. The season 3 Gold Minute is in pre-production right now, so I'm just asking people to get on. So you'll hear that soon-ish.
Ooh, I'm excited.
There's a lot of legit crossover between when we get to the Nolan movies.
Oh, yeah.
And Goldmember, of course, Michael Caine. Friggin' crossing franchises.
And I'll tell you what, he is a revelation in that movie. I say that like he's an undiscovered gem, but you know what I mean. Like,
have you heard of this Michael Caine guy?
This guy, this up-and-coming young stud. But Dave, yes, where can people find you and your crazed nonsense?
Yes. I am slowly working to finish up 5 Minutes of Mystery, where I cover the 1999 superhero comedy ensemble Mystery Men, which I think is a great bridge, if no one's watched it, a great bridge between the camp that is this film, but also take shots at what will then become the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all its dealings. It's a great piece where it really does sit perfectly in between the end of the 90s camp and right before the edginess of the early 2000s movies. It sits in this perfect zone where it's got references. Like I said, Champion City and this Gotham are almost interchangeable. And then there's just certain plot things and certain inside meta jokes that like Marvel thought they're making those jokes. It's like, well, technically those jokes were made. Like, they were made ahead of your time.
Beat
like,
you to it.
So any other comic book fans who have not watched it, come on down to Champion City.
Hey, make sure you do, and come and speak to us like you usually do. Come to the Bat Minute Listeners Cave on Facebook. Send us a tweet at Bat Minute, Instagram the Bat Minute. All of that nonsense. And what else have we got? Have we got an OnlyFans yet?
I mean, we can get cracking.
We can get one. I've got a Catwoman suit. That'll come in handy for the OnlyFans. So join us on the upcoming OnlyFans, and we will see you again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute and Robin.
Next time, gonna take you right into the cold zone. A new occupant chills in a serious house on Sirius Earth and is guarded by goons of gigantic girth. But as the Arctic malefactor gives his captors the slip and nips to an open door, will his freedom be froze and fall flat on its nose once a body hits the floor? There's more ice escapades on Wednesday for our captive audience. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.